Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Coursera Informational Seminar. We'll be talking about how Coursera could potentially enhance your job search, flesh out your resume, and add something to your LinkedIn profile. My name is Art Larson, and I will be presenting today. I have two other people joining me. First is Ben Balio from the Governor's Workforce Board. I'll let Ben tell you a little bit about what he does for the Coursera project. Ben?
Thanks, Art. My name is Ben Balio. I'm the director of the Governor's Workforce Development Board, and we are overseeing this initiative, which we'll dive into a little bit more. But working with Art and others in the career force system to just make this online learning tool and career exploration tool accessible to as many Minnesotans that like it.
Thanks, Ben. We'll be going to Ben for his expertise, and he'll be answering a lot of questions throughout the seminar. He'll also be available after the end of what we do here today to do a Q&A session. Also joining me today is Glory Mitchell from the Duluth office. I'll let Glory unmute herself and talk a little bit about what she will be offering today. Glory?
Putting in the chat box the information on if you do have questions during the presentation. It will tell you exactly how to do that. And then at the end of the presentation, we will also have time for questions and answers. So as we go along here, let me know if you have questions, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Great, thank you, Glory. So as you mentioned, if you hover over the bottom of your screen, there is a call out, or it looks like a speech bubble. If you click on that, you can activate your chat panel, as many of you have already done, to introduce yourself. That's how you're going to ask questions today. And we do ask that you send them to all participants if you want everyone to see them, or to all panelists. We will not be using the all attendees option. So many of you may be aware of what Coursera is, and some of you may be totally new to this. However, I'm going to do an introduction. Coursera is an option that's been available for a long time. What's different about what we're talking about today is that the state of Minnesota has partnered with Coursera to offer 3,800 courses and training modules from over 200 top businesses and universities. These learning opportunities are aimed at preparing people for in-demand jobs. And we'll talk more about what that means a little bit later. But first and foremost, I really wanted to put this together to tell people that this is not an ad. We're not selling anything. You're not going to have to pay for anything. In fact, if you ever get to a point where someone asks you for money through this, you just might have gone down the wrong click. You don't have to pay for anything through the Coursera initiative that we have. So who can access this service? That's a question we get quite a bit. Anyone in Minnesota can request access. I'll show you how to request access in just a little bit. You do not have to be on unemployment. You do not have to be in school. You don't have to have ever done an online course before. There's no age restriction. So it's wide open. It's a tremendous opportunity. I've participated myself. I'm excited about it. There's some things I want to become more familiar with that I do for my work. So I'm employed, and I'm still going to access this to enhance my career. So time frame. This is really a very fortuitous thing that we're talking about this today and recording this today, because the time frame has been extended. As of today, you now have until December 31st of 2020 to register for an account. Once you've registered for an account, you have until February 28th of next year to enroll in a new course. There's no restriction on the number of courses you can enroll in, but I would hesitate to recommend anyone apply to a whole bunch of them at one time. It can be very overwhelming. So we say, start with something that you're interested in, that has a shorter time frame so you can be comfortable with how it goes, and then take that more career-specific course as you go along. And then March 31st of 2021 is the end of the initiative. That's the end of us being able to offer it for free. Coursera will still be around, but we won't be able to offer it through the state of Minnesota as a free service. Ben, if there's at any time you want to add to or clarify anything I've said, feel free to unmute and interrupt, but I'll keep going here with the registration. So I'm going to be doing some screenshots. I'll be doing some web pages. So the registration process is simply as simple as clicking on this link. And by the way, I will be sending everyone follow-up material. You'll receive this slide deck plus all my speaker notes. You'll also receive a recording of today's presentation along with some additional documents such as frequently asked questions and whatever we can find useful to send you. So you don't have to feverishly take notes. You don't have to write anything down. I'll get this all to you by tomorrow afternoon. So first off, here's the web page. So it's careerforcemn.com/Coursera. All you have to do to enroll in this project is you scroll down to right here and use a scroll bar to enter your first name, last name, email, zip code, and just answer one question. So it's just select all that apply to you. So if none apply, it's other. That's it. Once you have done that, Ben, actually, could you talk about what the process is once someone has submitted that application? What happens?
Yeah, so you submit that form right there. On our end, we can then just take the information from that form, and all we're doing is we're taking the name and email address that you submitted that form, and we're going to be sharing that with Coursera, and that's what we use to create your account. And so throughout the day, every 2 or 3 hours is what we're trying to do throughout the day, but you can expect it at least within 1 business day at the very latest. You'll get an activation email that is initiated once we put that into Coursera.
Perfect. Thank you. So after you've done that, after you've registered, you will receive a confirmation email that is basically your portal to getting into Coursera. So I've got my confirmation email that I received. It looks exactly like the one you see there. And it just says, you know, hi, welcome. And that's it. You can go right to the courses. We'll talk about that as we go along. So getting started. It's with 3,800 courses available, it can be somewhat overwhelming. I do recommend that you look around a little bit before you click on something. I mean, I was immediately attracted to this Python course. And it's the first thing I saw, and I clicked on it immediately. I wasn't ready to take it. I still haven't started it, actually. So that's waiting for me. If I had clicked on everything that interested me that first day, I would have had 20 or 30 courses, and that would have been overwhelming. So take a time to look around the catalog a bit. I'll show you what that looks like. So if you go to the courses from that registration email, it takes just a minute to get everything there. And it'll list the courses you have. Of course, if you haven't started, there will be no courses shown. But from here, you can browse the catalog. And there have been some curated recommendations for you that have been put together just because these are some things that are very relevant to today's job search and to what a lot of people are dealing with today. These are not the only courses that are out there. So you could spend an entire day going through all the different options that are available. And I highly recommend you spend some time doing that before you lock into something that you want to actually take. All right. We talked a little bit about the catalog. One of the things that's very attractive about this, as opposed to other free online training that you may have access to, let's say like Khan Academy or GCFLearnFree.org, those are all great training sites. There's great information on there. These are done by businesses and universities, and many of the courses have certificates available. So I'm going to let Ben talk a little bit about what that means. There's 3 different types. I'll let him explain those.
Thanks. Yeah, so there are 3 different certificates that you can get for learning on the platform. The first is a course completion. So that really is a certificate that you get for completing 1 course. And this is just kind of an example of one that you'd get for completing 1 course. You can't really see it, but in the bottom right corner, there's a verification number. So if you wanted to, share this with an employer later or someone else who wanted to confirm that you have that certificate, it's easy to do if you just share that number with them or the certificate with that number on it. And then the next kind of certificate on the platform is a specialization certificate. So you get this one for completing a series of courses in a specialized area. So for example, this one on the screen is an information system one that the University of Minnesota developed. And for taking these 4 courses in this area. And again, you'd get a certificate showing that that you completed that series of courses. The certificate looks a little different, but it still has that verification number on it. And then the last kind is this. Oh, sorry, that's a good example of that specialization certificate there. And then the last kind is the professional certificates that were developed by industry. So there are 8 of these that are available to Minnesotans. Each of them is really designed to help people be qualified and ready for a job that utilizes these skills. So there's cybersecurity. The Google IT support certificate, for example, was designed to help people be prepared for a job in IT support, automation with Python, cloud architecture, cloud engineering. So really in the IT and programming spaces are really where there's those strong. They have more certificates normally on the platform than this, but through this free access for people, these are the 8 professional certificates that are included for Minnesotans to access for free. So you can, share these in different ways after you get a certificate. In just a couple of clicks. I think Art might be talking about that a little bit later, but there's different ways that you can do that, either listing it on your resume with Coursera or not. So Art will go over that in a little bit, I think.
Yes. And what I've got on the screen right now is just an example of a couple of those courses. Of course, in any education, whether you pay for it or not, you're investing your time. So you certainly want to make sure it's a valuable certificate in your area that employers would see as something that you would be marketing about yourself. So this example, the Google IT support, they talk about the number of jobs, the median wage, and average times it takes to complete the program. Most job search sites have a very easy search tool. So if you find a certificate that you think, hey, this could really help me, search to see if any employers are listing that on their page. I'd be very careful about how you enter it, though. If you enter it with different spaces or slightly different spelling, it's not going to catch a match. So you might look for Google IT as opposed to Google IT Support Professional Certificate. You're unlikely to find an exact match there. At this time, I do see quite a few questions coming in the box. Gloria, is there any questions you think we could give Ben at this point?
Yes, we're going to be covering in a little bit. So I'm just going to have you continue on.
Okay, perfect. So the question with all this, I mean, it's all good and fine, and it's fun to learn, and it's something certainly to do. However, what do we do with these? I'm not going to lie to you and say these are the same as a 4-year degree. They're certainly not. But they are something that proves you went through a process, that you did learn something. So what it can allow you to do is potentially apply for jobs you couldn't before. So this morning, Gloria and I did a quick look through Minnesota Works and just pulled a couple of jobs. The first one was a tech job. So this particular job used a lot of acronyms. If you're in the tech industry, this makes sense to you. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. This particular job requires experience with cloud AI, AWS, Google, Azure, Python, all these different things. So I did a quick search within the catalog and found that AWS, Python, and multiple Google courses are available. Now, experience certainly trumps a certificate, but if you have the majority of the skills required for a job, and they have one thing or two things that are preventing you from applying, it's much better to say I have current training in something than to say I have no experience whatsoever in that training. It could get you in the door to an interview that you might not otherwise have had access to because you didn't have it on your resume. Now, not everyone's in the tech industry, and I want to be very clear about this. Even though you see a lot of tech things that are on the Coursera catalog, there's everything. Pretty much anything you are interested in or would like to learn, it's there. So another example could be hospitality. Say that you have worked in hospitality for a long time, but you don't have any leadership experience for a shift leader potentially. So you want to enhance your career, you want to do new things, but you don't have the experience they're requiring. So there is a course on leadership and emotional intelligence that are on the site. And this is one example. By the way, there are tons of courses on leadership, management, a lot of them on customer service. It's very hard to get into some jobs if you don't have a customer service background. Again, experience trumps a training. However, have it on your resume as a certificate can really get your foot in the door. Another example of what you can do with this certificate is, of course, put it on your resume. I'll be sending everyone a template of a couple different ways, and this is, by the way, this is just one, of putting these certificates on your resume. You could put it on trainings and certificates. You could put it under education. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. One of the things to consider, though, even though this is put together by Coursera, these trainings are offered through Duke University, Yale, Michigan State University. I've always wanted to have Yale on my resume. I could take a course through Yale, and it's being totally honest to say I took an online course through Yale University, in this case, Michigan State University. You don't necessarily have to put that it was through Coursera, through a free training. That doesn't matter. And then you have a date, and this is really important. A lot of people are unemployed right now. You're not alone in that. However, the way you can set yourself apart from other people who are in the same situation as you is to have something current on your resume that says, hey, during this time in which I've been unemployed, here's what I've been doing to enhance my career. I get a lot of questions from people who have been employed their entire life, and this is something brand new to them. And they're saying, my gosh, I haven't been employed since June. One, don't worry about that. That's not long-term unemployment. But if it's new to you, I get it. It's scary. What you can do about it is get something with the current month on it. You know, if you said that I just completed a customer service course in August and now I'm applying to your restaurant or to your hotel, that's much better than saying I haven't worked since May. So there's a lot of options on there. Another thing you can do is you can add it to your LinkedIn profile. Again, don't try to write all this down. I'll send it to you. You don't have to have a LinkedIn account to access Coursera. You don't have to have a LinkedIn account to get a job. However, if you have one, this is something else you can add to it. I'm going to give you a precaution you should take. If you've ever taken a LinkedIn course, you've probably heard that LinkedIn is not everything you've ever done. It's what you're promoting about yourself currently. So it's not like a resume to a specific job, but it's what you want employers to see you as. So you don't want to say, oh, I do this job, and then I did this other job, which is completely different, and now I'm looking for a job that has nothing to do with all three. You want to create kind of a unified message for what employers see when they go to your LinkedIn account. Similarly, when you put Coursera courses on there, even though you may have taken some great course that was just something you were interested in, you don't necessarily have to add it to your LinkedIn profile, but consider what could I take that I could add. So if I am in, let's say, an office position, well, an Excel course, how many office positions don't require Microsoft Word and Excel? It'd be awesome to put a little badge on your profile that says, I just completed an advanced Excel course through, some university out east. That would look pretty good, and it would look new, and your connections on LinkedIn would see it as a new activity. So something to consider there also. All right. So in addition to all of these options that we have, all of these options we've talked about very specific options for enhancing your resume. Some of us are not at that stage right now. Some of us may be thinking, right now I'm just a little nervous. I haven't done any of this. This is all new to me. There are 3,800 courses. So there are many, many different things to explore that could be in topics such as professional and personal development. Maybe you're new to online learning. Well, there's a course on how to learn. There's critical thinking in the information age, creative problem solving. There's not a business around that couldn't benefit from that, but we can also benefit from it personally. So there are sections of the course catalog that deal with a wide variety of options. Another one is career development. Now, I work for CareerForce through the state, but I work for CareerForce, and I do a lot of the virtual programs. If you've been to some of mine, thank you. We teach courses on resumes and interviews and all sorts of different things. However, that's just one point of view. We really like what we do, but there are other people who do it just as well. And so looking at possibly something from how to create a resume in Google Docs, then of course converting it to a Word document. Career planning, pathway to employment. Now this is all preparatory stuff that are going to maybe help you understand what courses you should be taking or what career direction you should be looking at. And then one of the ones that is extremely popular right now, in fact I think it's the #1 course in the catalog, is self-care. You know, well-being, taking a step back and just saying, you know, how do I deal with all this stuff? Positive psychology. I think the science of well-being is the #1. I'm not sure. Ben can probably give me some information on that. But there's a lot of information on just taking care of yourself also. And then don't forget those things, those hobbies. You know, if you're into photography, there's photography courses on there. I'm sure there's gardening courses. I'm going to look for gardening courses. Outdoor, you know, park management. I'm sure there's something on that that might interest a lot of people. So look through the course catalog quite a bit before you kind of lock into anything or start something, because you might find something even more interesting later, and now you have 2 courses going at the same time. The more courses you have going at the same time, the less likely you are to complete any of them. So be a little careful with that. Ben, before we get into the questions, I wanted to leave at least half of the time here for questions. Is there anything you'd like to add to what I've already talked about?
No, I think you've really covered it. I mean, just to clarify, you know, this is really open to anyone. You don't have to be unemployed. You haven't had to have been unemployed this year. And if you are currently unemployed and get a job, that, you know, that doesn't matter. You can continue to learn if you want to. And so you have an unlimited number of courses to enroll in. If you have filled out that form at careerforcemn.com/Coursera, that's really how you get access. So after you fill out that form, within 1 business day, you should be getting that email that has that activation link in it. You have to go to that activation link in order to unlock the courses for free. If you're going straight to Coursera, you're not going to be able to get access to those courses for free. And then again, all of the certificates that if you can access the courses through the platform and enroll in them, it means you can get that certificate for free once your account's activated. So I just want to clarify with that with everyone. If you filled out that form prior to today and you haven't received an email, be sure to go to your spam or clutter or promotions folders. They sometimes get caught up that way. The email says it's coming from MN, Department of Employment and Economic Development. And so that's where you're going to see it. If you're still having issues, you reach out to me individually and we'll make sure we get that to you. But, you know, please go that route. There's also that learner guide linked right above that form, has some screenshots and other information. And then I do want to clarify too, again, I think some people have noticed it, but originally that deadline to sign up and activate your account was September 30th. That has changed as of this morning. We have more time to do that. So it's December 31st. So anyone is able to do it that way.
Yeah. And one of the things Ben was talking about was frequently asked questions. I'll include this as an attachment, but you can click on it right on the site. And there's a lot of information on there if you have any questions that aren't answered through there. There are other options, of course, but for most of the common questions, we'll be adjusting some of these dates, but this is a good FAQ for most questions. All right, Glory, do we have any questions we need to get to?
Hi, yes, we do. So one of the questions was, if I start a course and I do not like it, what do I do?
So if you start a course and you don't like it, you can go to the search bar in the course catalog and you can just search for that course. And so just find the course that you're enrolled in that you want to drop. You can go to that, click on the course there, and there'll be an option to drop it right there.
Excellent. Another question is there a QuickBook course available?
Unfortunately, there isn't. There are a lot of other accounting courses on here, a number of them, some geared for people who are trying to learn accounting for their personal finances, and then others for business. But unfortunately, there isn't a QuickBooks course.
Then I have one more question. Are there courses flexible to complete as you can do, or do they all have timelines? I signed up for one and received an email that I hadn't completed the first week yet. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think partially you're getting that email just to kind of remind you that you're enrolled in a course, and so I think that's part of something that Coursera will do automatically for folks who maybe have enrolled in a course and haven't completed it. But so most of the courses are asynchronous or like on demand, meaning you can really go in there and learn as you want to. There is a certain recommended pace to keep, and so some instructors will do webinars for people who are at a certain point in a course. So you would be on this webinar with others that are in a have similarly progressed through a certain course, and then that instructor would then be available to answer questions at that point. So not all courses are that way, but some are. So in that way, it is helpful to stay on pace, but you can catch up in courses. You can also, unenroll in a course and start it again. Because there's no cost. It's not going to cost you anything to drop a course and re-add it if you really didn't want to take it, but you didn't start it right away when you enrolled.
That's one of the questions I had. When I had enrolled for the Python course right away, I wasn't ready to take it. And it said, this course starts today. And I thought, what are the odds? I enrolled in a course that started the day I enrolled in it. And I didn't realize that almost all of them say that. So you do not have to start the day you enroll. But it will say, you'll get emails that say week 4. And until I realized what Ben had said, asynchronous, meaning it's not they're not all timed together. You can start at any point for most of the courses, and it works very well.
Yeah, and then so Coursera, we have access to most of Coursera's course catalog that they have on their platform for free right now. Minnesotans do. There are a few courses where they aren't offered, and so typically there's a few extra professional certificates that others could pay for, that learners could pay for if they're on the platform, and those weren't unfortunately included in this deal in partnership between DEED and Coursera. But for all of those, they have found some similar replacement courses. And so I know one of them, for example, was a Python programming course, I believe, that IBM developed. And we have other courses from IBM on there, but that one's not included in this. But, there are a lot of Python programming courses and specializations available. If you go to the search bar after you've already activated your account and you're searching through courses in the course catalog, you're not going to run into a course that you don't have access to for free if you get to it by searching from Coursera while you're logged into your account through this program, through DEED. What I think some people are running into is they'll Google a particular program or a course that's on Coursera, but maybe isn't included in this. And so we have access to the vast majority of Coursera's course catalog. It's over 98%. But there are a few that haven't been included. And so if you're running into the paywall, it's either because you access that outside of the platform, maybe through Google, or because you haven't activated your account yet. And so if you're running into that paywall and it's expecting you to pay for a course, that means you haven't activated it.
Perfect. Here's an example of what Ben was just talking about. I'm enrolled in my course, and it has my name here, and it's got the Minnesota logo. So everything within this should come up as free. So I can click on search and go basically to anything I'm looking for. So a great example would be Excel courses. And when I type in Excel, I should get a whole bunch of different things I can look at. So there's Excel for Business, Essentials, and make sure you're in the right course. There are some real basic courses and where someone might be bored, and then there's some intermediate, and there's some advanced skills in some of these that might be way over your head and be very frustrating. So you don't have to take them all at once. You don't have to register for them all at once. You can start at the beginning, and as long as you register that course by February, you can take additional courses as you're ready. So some of these, even though they're not grouped together in a particular certificate series, you can think of them as a series of increasing your knowledge on a given subject. I see Ben's handling a lot of the questions as we go along. Glory, are there additional ones?
Yes, there was one that says, can you take Coursera classes via the phone app?
Yeah, so that's actually a great way to do this. I'm hearing a lot of folks that are just kind of like learning in bed right before they go to bed for 20-30 minutes and taking some courses online that way. So there is a Coursera app. If you have a Android or Apple mobile device, you can definitely do that. If you download the app on your phone and then click on that activation link in the email that you receive, it should take you to the app and allow you to finish it that way. And so another cool thing about this as well is you can actually download a course onto your device or your computer. If you don't have internet access at home, but you have access to internet elsewhere, you could download the course when you do have internet access and then access it later. And then the next time you get internet access and log into Coursera, there's just a couple of clicks and you'll be able to upload your learning progress that way, and do it that way. There are some courses where you really might need a monitor and a computer, but the vast majority of them are built to be mobile friendly as well. There are also audio and video captions for most of the videos that are built into that as well.
Ben, Julie has asked a question that I think is pretty prominent because I did the same thing that she did. It says, I must have messed up and signed up through Coursera and not Workforce. I apparently started a Finding Purpose course as audit. Can I go back and register through CareerForce?
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. So if any of you have already created a sign-in with Coursera and now are realizing, maybe you needed to wait for that activation email, it's not a big deal. You just need to wait for that activation email. What I would recommend that you do is to actually log out of your account when you click on that activation email, and then that should help get you in there, or even logging in and out again, and then you'll see that the course catalog is opened up for you. If you go to that course then that maybe you were already auditing, there may be, I think, an ability to enroll directly that way. Otherwise, I think there'll be a way for you to enroll right in the course that way. You may need to drop it from auditing and then re-enroll, and then I think it may give you some of that progress again.
Ben, could you just quickly also address where they're getting the activation email? There's some confusion on that.
Yeah, so I'm going to just put it in here again. Yeah, so it looks like Art put it right there, the register here link. So that's the link you need to go to in the form. If you scroll down just a little bit, there's a form there that we're just asking for your name, your email address, your zip code, and then to just kind of identify some ways that you've been impacted by COVID-19, or just to say that you just want to learn on Coursera, either way. And, once you submit that, within a few hours, you'll get an activation email that'll say that it's coming from MN, Department of Employment and Economic Development. And anyone who's on this webinar right now live, I will personally, right after this, go in and initiate that to happen. So all of you should receive those activation emails shortly after that if you haven't already created an account. And if you have created an account and you're not seeing that activation email, be sure to check your spam or clutter or promotions folders. If you have Gmail, sometimes they seem to be going to promotions and not necessarily spam. So just be sure to look for that. If you've already done this, if you've requested this before today, you can shoot me a direct email and we'll power through this. I prefer to try to avoid that if it's I just want to make sure I can get back to you as quickly as possible. So please sign up that way if you haven't already. That's the easiest way for us to do this. And then again, within the next half hour or so, you'd have access then.
Ben, there's an interesting question here. You know, it's asynchronous, but is there ability on some of these courses to work ahead, or do you have to wait for week 1, week 2, week 3?
You can absolutely work ahead. There are a number of Minnesotans that you can see that are really plugging along and doing a lot really quickly. So some of those timelines where it estimates how many hours or whatever it would take you to complete that, some of those timelines, you know, they're basically set up as if someone has a full-time job and they're expecting people to, you know, maybe do this an hour or 2 or 3 after work most days out of the week, and that's kind of how they predict those. You know, if it predicts, you know, 5 weeks to complete this, that's kind of their idea, is that someone's spending, you know, 1 to 3 hours a night after work on that. But if you're working on it more than that, you'll be able to complete things more quickly than that, and you can definitely move ahead. And so there are courses, individual courses. They're also, and they look like a course when you register for them. I saw someone asked about what's a guided project, and so there are a number of guided projects on Coursera that you can do as well, that you sign up for just like you would a course, but rather than taking, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, you know, estimated for some courses, this is actually just a number of hours. And so, for example, there's a create your resume on Google Docs, or build a website for your company using Wix. And so what that actually does is it just takes you a few hours, and it really just guides you through the process of doing something specific. Maybe, I mean, yeah, there's a number of those. And so that won't take as long, but you do sign up for those just like a course. But if it's a guided project, it's just a little bit different how it's delivered. I think some of those may be better designed for a desktop computer, but some of them might be mobile friendly as well.
I'll take this one. I work in a career force. Do we need to ask our customers to use local zip codes in order to track if people in our local areas are taking classes? Does that matter at all for what we're trying to do here, Ben?
I mean, I think it's helpful for us to know zip code because it's helpful for us to know who's utilizing this. I think the more we as a society really move into this virtual world, the more we need to make sure everyone has access. And so zip code is just kind of one way that we're going to be able to tell how, you know, equitable this opportunity was. And as we, you know, look at workforce development in a more digital world, you know, making sure that when we invest in something, that it's an investment for everyone is important for us. So it's helpful just having that geographical information for us. I think I answered that. I hope so.
Yeah. This one came in privately to me, so I'm not. This is why I'm asking it. Certifications. I get a lot of questions on this. Are certifications free?
Yes. So the individual certificate for taking one course, that'll be free as long as you've activated your account through this initiative. If you're on Coursera through the state of Minnesota, Indeed, and Career Force, you'll be able to get those certificates for free. If you want to get one of the specialization certificates, those will be free. And any one of those 8 professional certificates will be free. So all those costs are waived. Typically, it's about $400 a year for access to Coursera. And then those certificates are between $30 and $90 each. And all those costs are waived as long as you learn and complete courses by March 31st, 2021.
I like the comment, you can binge. Yeah, this does feel a little bit like that, like productivity binging or productive binging. Another question came into me. What if you don't have access to a desktop computer? I think you talked about most of these are accessible through the phone. Is that correct, Ben?
Yeah, and if something is designed specifically for a desktop, it will say in the course description when you are looking at the account.
Yeah, here's an example right here.
Yep.
Art, I have a question that says, do Coursera classes qualify as job search activities for folks on unemployment?
So I did see that question. I tried to get ahead of it. None of us work for unemployment, so I can't answer that specifically. It's That's between, you know, whatever you set up. It depends on what you had put into your unemployment activities or your reemployment activities. Ben, do you have any extra information on that?
Unfortunately, I do not. Like a number of things related to unemployment and the activities that folks are required to do, there's, you know, I think a lot of uncertainties. I think um, my understanding would be that, you know, some of this may be, some of the courses on there may be an activity that would be relevant. I would really defer to UI on that, though I don't work in that division, and so I don't have a ton of concrete answers there as much as I wish I did.
Art, another question that I had was, can you show how to save for later when browsing courses? I did not see that feature yesterday when I was searching.
The only reason I can show you that is because it's right here. When you search for a course, there is an option right here for save for later. And that would go into, I would imagine, a folder or a section for your saved courses. One of the questions I've gotten a lot about online courses is how much instructor involvement is there? Are these all videos, or can, in some courses, we contact instructors with questions?
Yeah, so it depends a little bit on the course. So some courses are actually taught by like a number of faculty at a certain university, and the courses where that tends to be the case, there tends to be a little bit more ability to do that. Some instructors will do webinars throughout the duration of their courses, where you can hear them clarify things that maybe they've received questions on, give some additional guidance, and then also take questions from folks. And I believe how they do that is they tend to have those webinars for people that are similarly progressed in there. And so you'll have the ability to do it that way. There are group discussion forums that you can be a part of as well. And then I do believe that there is a way to just submit questions. I would imagine, you know, that if you were submitting a question for one of these courses, say the science of well-being at Yale, I would imagine if there's the ability to submit that question, then there's probably a team of folks at Yale responding to those. I'm not sure if you'd be able to, it maybe depends on the situation, actually get that response from the instructor, but I'd imagine it's someone that's working closely with them.
I have a question from Saeed, and he's saying, can Art show us how to drop a course? That would be very helpful. Maybe Ben, you might know the answer to that too.
Yeah, so if you're in Coursera, there's if you go to the catalog, there's a search bar to search for it. You just have to search for the course you're already enrolled in and find it in the catalog that way. You click on that course in the catalog, there's going to be an option near the top that'll allow you to drop a course.
So I'm going to attempt this, and I don't want to drop this course, but I will see here. Okay, so this is the course I have. I believe I'm on this one. This isn't the specific one I'm on, so I would have to type in Python. Try it again. Here it is. Yeah, so this is one that I'm on, and I would imagine I would just click on removed, remove from saved.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to take this, but that's how you would do it. So one of the things I want to really stress about this is no fault. A question came in, what if you drop a course that you found to be too difficult? Hey, you know what? There's no one's going to go back and say, Art Larson took a Python class that he had no business being in, and we're going to hold it against him. These are no-fault courses. There's no GPA associated with them. There's just a completion. No one will know that you didn't complete. You won't be charged. And, you know, as a resident of Minnesota, my question is, will the state? They will not. It is a subscription that we have. It doesn't matter how many courses people take. We're charged the same amount. I think that's correct, Ben. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, we're not, the state of Minnesota, through this partnership, we're not getting, you know, charged for how many courses each person enrolls in or even how many users. So this really isn't a relief initiative that we want this to be as helpful for as many people that have a use for it. And if you enroll in a course and decide it's not for you, doesn't matter if you drop it, doesn't matter if you decide to enroll it in again. It doesn't matter if you enroll in 6 different courses and decide only one's for you. There's no penalty for that, and it's not costing anything. This truly is a no cost opportunity for all of you.
I'm not sure if this is specific to any one course or all these would allow it. We did get a couple questions. Is there a way to download notes, or what do you get from the instructor? Is it all just online, or is there material that you can access and download?
Yeah, so some of it is downloadable. Well, first off, you can, I think, download most of the videos independently. It depends on each course, but each course is going to have supplemental materials that you can download. You can always screenshot things too. But yeah, you'll get notes, you'll get other materials in a lot of these courses. It's different for each course, but you'll have access to some materials afterwards. You can always screenshot something too, for sure. And then just a reminder too is you can use an iPad. There's a Coursera app that you can download in the Apple Store. Otherwise, you can download it in the Google Play Store or your other Android app store to get the Coursera app if you want to use it on a tablet or a cell phone. And you can also download it onto those devices to access them offline if you choose to do so.
Okay. All right. Any other questions we need to get to?
Yes, I have one from Job Club. It says, how do you access or browse all 3,800 courses?
Well,
it's a little intimidating, but I mean, if you go to the course catalog, there's a number of different categories that they've created to help break it down into different areas. And then there's also those 28 different categories that we at the state of Minnesota have created, and we'll probably continue to shake those up a little bit, especially as Coursera continues to add some new courses to the catalog. So since we launched this initiative 5 weeks ago or so, Coursera has actually added 200 more courses to the catalog that folks here in Minnesota can take for free. So that'll continue to evolve a little bit, but I think it might be the easiest way is to start in those categories. But honestly, searching by skill or by industry or other topic of interest is in the course catalog is another way that you can go. But I would really, again, just start with that home page. There's going to be 28 categories that we've kind of put together that we think might be helpful. But there's a lot on there. But narrowing it down is for sure the way to go, rather than trying to sift through it all.
And I would also recommend anyone who is of the age considering college, there is a whole section on understanding college life, writing research papers, essay writing, things that prepare you for education, actually.
Yeah, so there is a course there, considering college. You pulled it up. So if folks have maybe thought about pursuing whether it's customized short-term training or really a degree program, we've put together this category here. That there's some things about what college life is like. There's also writing a research paper, a lot of intro level courses, so intro to psych or intro to sociology or pre-calc, or different ways to just kind of measure your baseline. Or if you're starting school again this fall, if you want to hone in on some skills and sharpen those up a little bit, that might be a good opportunity too. If you're a small business owner, there's a number of things on there to help you market your company. So there's a number of different ways that maybe this can be helpful.
Most of the courses do list basic, intermediate, and advanced. There's no exact progression because they come from all sorts of different universities and businesses. It would be impossible to slot them in any kind of order, but a lot of them do say intro to or advanced or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and definitely check, if you're worried about, especially if you're diving into a new topic, if you've never done computer programming before and you want to start now, you could, definitely narrow that down as you're searching to only include beginner courses. Otherwise, we have put those categories together in a way that'll get you where you need to go on that front page as well. Most of these courses, so if it's a university course, you can keep in mind that, it was a university that authored it. But at the same time, these universities that are on there, they are authoring it knowing, on this platform through Coursera, that not everybody's starting at the same place. And so, especially because there's no risk, you're not paying for it. If you're really interested in a topic and you maybe are worried about the skill level, there's no risk in giving it a try and seeing, if it's working for you or not. And then also there are a number of courses that weren't designed by universities. They're designed by businesses or some other organizations that, they're not considering, a university skill level either. They operate outside of that a bit as well.
Ben, I have a good question here from Lauren. She says, I already have a Coursera account from taking a contact tracing course a few months ago. I have been trying to get a job as a contact tracer for a while now, and it's registered in the same email account that is registered with CareerForce. Can I still access the deed benefits with that email account, or do I need to create a new one altogether?
Yeah, so if that's the case for you, that's just fine. It's okay that you already have an account. You'll still just want to request that access. One thing that we're running into is folks that already have a Coursera account are just having issues like still hitting that paywall because it's not syncing up quite right away. So what you may need to do is log out of that account and be logged out when you go to that activation link in that email. If you uh, aren't seeing it again right away, just again log out, log back in, and you should be good to go. If you're on a web browser, like on a computer, in the upper right hand corner, sometimes you'll see your name, and you'll probably see the state of Minnesota logo. Make sure that you've clicked that too, and there's multiple programs. So like if you already had an account, you may go ahead and click that, Art. And if you click your name there, if you had multiple accounts, it would probably say so. Actually, I'm sorry, it's looking a little different for you, Art. On that right to the right of the word Coursera at the top there, see the state of Minnesota's logo. If you click that, if Art had multiple accounts, he would be able to kind of toggle back and forth between his unpaid account or his other account and that one. If you're on the mobile app, it's usually at the very top of the screen. In the middle, there's a drop down menu. So just make sure that if you already have an account, that one's selected, online skills training for the state of Minnesota. And if you don't see that in your Coursera account, it means you haven't activated your account.
Susan is asking, do these count as CEUs?
You'll have to brief me. I'm guessing it's continuing education units or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
So it really depends on your organization. I know that there are courses specifically set up for that. I know in like healthcare, for example, I know there was one that was, I believe, set up for nurses' requirement of a continuing education credit. So yeah, I guess it's up to the, whatever employer or entity or organization or board at that point. If someone has a question about that specifically, I'd be happy to try to work through that, because I think this is a great opportunity for people to do some of their continuing education requirements virtually. And I think a lot of these are geared towards that specifically.
So there was a question, what happens at March 31st? Say you're in the middle of a course, what happens on March 31st?
Yeah, so at no point in time between now and March 31st are you ever going to be asked to enter a credit card number. If you're, like Art said earlier, ever getting to a point where it's telling you to pay, it means you probably got to that page the wrong way. So either you Googled for and found a course that is one of the few not in the catalog for us right now, or you haven't activated your account, and so that paywall is still up. At the end of March 31st, so that's the last day that you'll have to learn on the platform. Come April 1st, it will prompt you to pay if you want to continue to learn on the platform. And so we don't want folks to be in the middle of a course, come March 31st that they plan to complete. So there's a number of things that we're going to do. We're going to remind learners through messaging on the platform via email that, of upcoming deadlines, just to make sure that folks are giving themselves enough time to complete courses. And then also, that's why we have that deadline on February 28th to enroll in a new course. So if you're already on Coursera, you're registered for a course, well, you're on Coursera, you have up until February 28th to register for a new course to enroll. After February 28th, we're not going to have the ability for learners to enroll in any new courses. We just want to make sure that nobody runs into the issue of taking a course and not having time to complete it. And then that being said, if there are courses that we for sure know, even if someone's learning on the platform for 10 hours a day, we know that there's no way they're going to be able to complete it because it takes months. We would remove that course from the catalog sometime in January or February, just because we just really don't want people to run into that issue. And we'll remind folks as well, but just make sure you give yourself that deadline in the back of your mind. You're going to know by that time, like if you've been utilizing it and kind of what pace you've been utilizing it. There are a number of these too. They're not meant. This isn't really meant to be. There are ways to do long-term, months-long courses and learn this way. But really, these are kind of meant to be bite-sized and shorter duration courses to give you that flexibility. So there hopefully won't be an instance where it's a really big issue where you haven't given yourself enough time to complete something.
Perfect. All right. Well, we just got a couple minutes left, and I haven't been able to catch up with everything. Gloria, is there anything we need to take care of before we wrap it up for today?
I think this is a pretty good question. So Julie is using a grad course from the U of Illinois, and she said, I'm about done with it. And also using another platform developed by them. I think it's a bit of a self-promotion. However, I am not using that and instead staying on Coursera, thinking if I jump platforms, it won't be recognized by Minnesota DEED.
I'm not really sure on that question. I don't think there's a way to transfer information over that way. What I would suggest is maybe creating your account this way and seeing what happens, seeing if that data syncs. If it doesn't, you could always maybe reach out to learner support. My guess, though, is if it wasn't hosted on Coursera, it might not transfer over. That being said, if it was really integrated with Coursera in some ways, there is a chance that some of that could transfer over. I just want to remind everyone of those dates because it looks like a couple people weren't sure. So December 31st, 2020, last day of this calendar year, is the last day to go to careerforcemn.com/Coursera and sign up and then activate your account using that link. February 28th is the last day for people who already did that. They already have been learning on Coursera, activate their account. February 28th is the last day to enroll in a new course. And then March 31st, 2021 is the last day to learn on the platform for free. If you're in the middle of a course come March 31st, which we hope won't happen a lot, but I mean, if that's the case, you would be at that point asked to pay by Coursera to complete the course. We think that we're going to be able to give folks enough time in this way, and we'll remove those longer term courses. So we hopefully won't run into that, but I hope that clarifies those dates. I will just say too, is there's currently an FAQs sheet posted by that sign up link. And in the bottom left-hand corner, as currently, there are a little bit different dates there. And that's because we just had that change this morning, as Art said. So that September 30th date that was listed on that page is incorrect. That was moved to December 31st. So we actually have more time for new folks to join the platform if they want to.
Perfect. We'll wrap it up on this question because I think it's an easy question. Once you receive the activation link, can you go directly to the Coursera website after that to log in?
So if you click that link in that email, it's going to initiate you going to Coursera. So it's going to take you to Coursera anyway to log in.
Yeah, so you don't have to use that link after you do the first login.
Yep, that's the only time you have to use that.
Perfect. So once again, everyone, all the speaker notes, the recording, and the FAQ, and with all those dates, we'll give you the dates too, will be sent to you by the end of the day tomorrow. Ben, thank you for taking time to join us. Glory, thank you for your work with the questions today. Just a reminder, the virtual and interactive site has recordings of all of these presentations. I'll include that also in the follow-up email. So if you have any questions about resumes, interviews, or LinkedIn, there are videos to help you with that, along with this Coursera discussion, which will be posted there. Thanks, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.